The amendment that is first pending on this bill has been named by Senators McConnell and Inhofe the Energy Tax Prevention Act. Good title. The bill doesn't do one thing to lower the price of oil. Not one thing. We know what we can do right now to lower the price of oil. We know we should go after the speculators who are speculating on futures. We know we have the Strategic Petroleum Reserve that the president is looking at, and every time we've taken some oil out of that, it has had a salutary impact on the price of gas immediately. We know that we should increase our investment in alternative clean fuels. We know what we have to do. We have to work for more stability in the Middle East, and most of all, we've got to get off foreign oil. We cannot be hostage to what's going on in the world. This bill does nothing about it. It has a good title, but it has nothing to do with the price of oil. We know what we have to do something about that, and I hope that we will. Now, let me tell you what I would name this amendment. I would not name it what has been called the Energy Tax Prevention Act because it doesn't do a thing about that. I would call it the Reliance on Foreign Oil Forever Act, because part of it says we can no longer look at fuel economy through the Clean Air Act and make gains on fuel economy. We all now have the opportunity to buy gas-efficient cars. How do you think that happened? It didn't happen without some leadership here. As a matter of fact, the senator from Maine, Olympia Snowe, was very involved in that. My colleague, Senator Feinstein, we all worked on this, Senator Lautenberg. And we said we are going to have more fuel-efficient cars. Now, according to this, it's over. And no state can step out and pass tougher fuel economy standards. It's stopping our states from acting. That's number one. So I call it the Reliance on Foreign Oil Forever Act, because as long as we drive cars that do not do well on fuel economy, we'll be stopping at the gas pump. Mark my words. And how wonderful is it for me? I drive a hybrid car that I can go about 50 miles per gallon, Mr. President, and I can wave at that gas station and say, I'm glad I don't have to stop here for a long time. Now, if you don't want to name the amendment the Reliance on Foreign Oil Forever Act, you can name it something else. The air pollution, the More Air Pollution for America's Act, the More Air Pollution for Americans Act, more air pollution. Now, we all ran for office and we all run for office. I never met one person who said, please go back there and get me more air pollution. Not one person ever said that. What they tell me is they know someone with asthma, they have asthma, their kid has asthma. So here's what happens here. This bill says forever the EPA can never, ever go after carbon pollution. Let me repeat that. This bill, despite the fact that the Clean Air Act specifically says that carbon pollution is covered, says no more. EPA can't go after it. It's going to keep it on. And there's going to be more air pollution for every American. That's what this bill promises that they want to pass. And I've got to tell you, my colleagues are playing scientist and they're playing doctor. They're deciding for us whether we should be exposed to pollution. And when we hear from my colleague, Senator Lautenberg, we're going to hear what it's like to have a grandchild with terrible asthma and to worry about it 24/7. So who are the real doctors and what are they saying? We got a letter in opposition to this terrible, terrible amendment from the American Lung Association. And I guarantee you, Mr. President, even though you are an extremely persuasive person, if you went outside and just stopped people on the street and said, well, who's really more trustworthy about your health, the American Lung Association or a senator? I don't care what you say. They picked the American Lung Association. They oppose this. the American Public Health Association, the American Thoracic Society, the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America, the Physicians for Social Responsibility and Trust for America's Health. They write us, and I ask unanimous consent to put this in the record. We, the undersigned, write to express our strong opposition to the McConnell Amendment known as the Energy Tax Prevention Act of 2011. We believe this legislation would block the Environmental Protection Agency from setting sensible safeguards to protect public health and the effects of air pollution.
Without objection.
So here's where we are. This is a terrible amendment. It's going to keep us reliant on foreign oil. It's going to overturn the endangerment finding, a health finding made by scientists and doctors that says carbon pollution is dangerous. It is even going to stop us from having a greenhouse registry where we know how much carbon pollution we're producing. This is a radical, radical amendment, and I trust we will defeat it.